What's going on, guys? Your boy Amazing. We're back with another video, and in today's video, guys, me going over the Skoll Hati complete guide covering the best teams, the best card sets, the best gear, and also just explaining the mechanics of the fight so that you guys know how to actually go through it. So let's hop into the video and let's discuss. But before we actually hop into the video, make sure to subscribe to your boy Amazing. We are on the road to the 40,000 subscribers. Guys, we are closing in. We are less than 100 subscribers away, man. And just because we hit the 40k, let's say, doesn't mean you guys gotta stop. So definitely continue to support the channel if you guys haven't already, man. And I'm gonna be pumping out all these guides for all the demonic beasts. I've so far already done bird and deer, so you guys can check those videos out already. Now we're gonna be doing Skoll Hati, and then I will be having the Nidhogg one come out fairly soon. So with that out of the way, guys, let's hop in and let's actually go over the best teams that you guys actually want to be using on Skoll Hati. Alright, guys, so this is the graphic that I actually made for the Skoll Hati Floor 3 meta teams. As you guys can see, these are the 6 teams that I will recommend you guys actually run when doing Skoll Hati. And in the video, we're actually going to be rocking the Ragnarok Megelda team as the one that we're going to be using to showcase and explain the mechanics of the fight. Alright, guys, so the first team that we have here is going to be the Ragnarok Megelda team. We have Thonar, we also have Freyr, Freya, and then Red Megelda. For the next team here, we have the Ragnarok tier team being Thonar, Freyr, Tyr, and then Red Megelda. For the Albedo LR Liz team, we actually do have Thonar, LR Liz, Albedo, and then Freyr. And then for the Roxy Escanor human team, we actually are going to be running Thonar, Roxy, Ultimate Escanor, and Freyr. And then for the Mael Goddess team right here, we are running LR Liz, Mael, LR Margaret, and then Sariel. And then for the final team here, guys, we have the Bond King Patience team, which is going to be Thonar, Chad King, Blue Brawler Bond, and then Freyr as well. Now for the notes here, guys, I mentioned that all characters have holy relics are being used for this guide. That doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have the relic for the character to do well. It just means that, you know, these characters are being run with them at their max potential. So if you're running the relics on these characters, you're gonna have the easiest go through going through Skoll Hati in general, right? Thonar and Freyr would preferably want their relics but are not needed either, right? So yeah, so pretty much you would definitely want to get Freyr and Thonar's relics if you don't have them or not. It's fine if you don't have them, it's still okay. And especially I would say you definitely want Thonar's over Freyr's. Freyr's you can get because it's going to be from Nidhogg, so it's not something that you might not be focusing on right now, but Thonar's is definitely going to be very important. Moving on, guys, we do also have the Holy Relic and Red Tarmiel Link icon, so you guys can see throughout the actual graphic here, you'll see there's a Holy Relic icon and then also a Red Tarmiel Link icon, and you can see which characters actually do have the Red Tarmiel Link and also the Holy Relics. And then for the final note here, guys, we have regular versions of characters are fine to run. For example, Green Elizabeth can be used as a substitute for LR Elizabeth, or Margaret can be used as a substitute for LR Margaret. So if you don't have the LR versions of these characters, you can definitely run the regular versions. This also goes for like other characters on the other teams. So like, let's say I don't have Freya, I can run Tyr, or if I don't have Tyr, I can run maybe Scotty, right? There's just a few examples right there. But yeah, man, that pretty much covers the meta teams right there, guys. Let's hop in and discuss about the card sets, the best card sets you guys want to be running. Alright, guys, so we have the Skoll Hati guide best artifact card set explanation. For you guys that are wondering, there's only going to be one card set here, guys, and the reason why is because this is the only one that actually is going to be the main benefit for actually running Skoll Hati. So let's actually read the notes here. So Eikthyrnir's Refuge is used when running any team on Skoll Hati for the immunity to freeze at maximum ultimate move gauge. The card set is also a universal demonic beast battle 10% basic stat increase set, so that you're pretty much using this on every team and you're mainly benefiting because of the immunity to freeze, which will actually come into play when we are, you know, going through the actual fight on Skoll Hati and I explain the mechanics of the fight. So yeah, guys, the example team that we have here is going to be the one that we're actually running in the video. So you guys can see it's going to be Thonar, Freyr, Freya, and Red Megelda. That's going to be the main Ragnarok team that I recommend. And then the card set Eikthyrnir's Refuge is going to be available. And remember, you can actually get this from the deer. And if you guys haven't checked out my deer video on how to actually clear that, definitely. Alright, guys, so that's pretty much the card sets right there, man. Let's actually move over and discuss the special gear set. Alright, guys, so we have these special gear sets pulled up for Skoll Hati. Now, for special gear sets that you want to be running, for Thonar here, guys, you actually do want to run attack crew resistance or HP crew resistance. I have attack crew resistance here because I feel like at this point in the game, especially if you do have Thonar's relic, you know, you're going to be doing fine with an attack set, and it's going to allow her to do a lot more damage when she actually needs to apply the attack related from her passive. So let's actually read the notes here that I have to mention for Thonar. So Thonar gear should always have crew resistance middle piece for both the earrings and the necklace so that she has better survivability when from taking damage, right? The reason reason why you're running crit resistance on this fight is because the boss actually does a lot more damage when actually critting against you. And crit resistance, the way it works is that you're actually not getting crit with the higher crit resistance stat you have, because it pretty much counteracts the crit chance stat from the boss, right? And then for the other gear set, guys, that we actually do recommend is going to be the Tarmiel gear set with recovery rate on the bottom right piece. And the reason why we're actually running this triple defense recovery rate piece is because when actually running this character on the goddess team on field, you definitely want him to be targeted and to be able to take the brunt of the damage while having the Tarmiel link. So in the notes here, as you guys can see, it says Tarmiel gear is only used on the Mael goddess team for running Tarmiel on field. Tarmiel will be the lowest HP ratio character and will be targeted by the boss instead of your other characters on the team. As long as you have Tarmiel being the lowest HP character, he will be the one that gets targeted, and you have to make sure he is on the far left of your team selection. And then we also do have here, guys, that all other gear that isn't mentioned in this little graphic here is going to be their standard sets for the respective characters and the standard substat rules. So for example, LR Elizabeth would be HP defense with the basic stat substat rules as well. And another thing you guys can do in the game is, if you don't know what the actual best gear set is for a character, you can actually go to a character. As an example, we'll go to LR Elizabeth and we can actually click on this button right here, and it's actually going to give us the best recommended gear from Netmarble themselves that they would actually recommend for you. So you guys can see here, it actually does recommend the HP defense, as I mentioned as well. Alright guys, so with that out of the way, man, let's now hop into the passives of the fight, and let's discuss what passives you actually want to be running on Skoll Hati and the ones that are going to be the most beneficial when going throughout the fight. Alright guys, so for floor 1, the passives that you actually are going to be able to get are going to be these 3 passives right here. So you have the critical damage increase one, which is going to increase the hero's critical damage by 10% for each orb removed from the hero's ultimate move gauge, limit of 10 times, and excludes depletion from ultimate move use. He also does have the crit resistance defense decrease, where it decreases all enemies crit resistance and crit defense by 25%. And then he also does have the defense related stat decrease, where whenever you get crit, you actually do get the defense related stat lower. Now the best one from these 3 right here, guys, is actually going to be the bottom one right here, the defense related stat decrease one, because you're not going to be getting crit too often on this fight, especially when you're running crit resistance gear on your Thonar, so that she won't get crit, and you're never going to really get this defense related stat applied lowered on you. The only way you might get it is going to be on the other characters on field, but this passive is also going to benefit you when running Red Miguelda, because you'll be able to cleanse and actually get a heal because of the way she actually works in her passive. Alright guys, so that's floor 1 right there. For the other passes, I would say this one's going to be the second best, and then this one's going to be the worst. And then if you actually move to floor 2 here, guys, we are going to have these 3 passes right here. So we have the scorn for the weak, deal 40% additional damage when the hero attacks an enemy with lower attack. We also do have the hero's attack increases by 5% for every debuff applied on all enemies. And then we also do have the increases the hero's damage dealt by 20% when attacking debuffed enemies. So I think the best passive you can get on floor 2 is actually going to be debuff Renaissance. And then I think the second best one's going to be weakness identification, and then the worst one's going to be the scorn for the weak, where the boss actually deals 40% additional damage when attacking enemy with lower attack, because most of the time you're probably going to have lower attack than the actual boss. So it is actually good to be able to have these other passes where the opposing Skoll Hati's attack is not going to be increased too much. Alright guys, and then on floor 3 here, for the passive options that we got here, we do have the stat decrease, the damage taken increase, and then the critical strike occurrence. So the best passive, in my opinion, guys, is actually going to be the damage increase one. This is going to be at the start of the ally's turn. It increases the enemy's damage taken by 10% for 1 turn, excluding the enemy with the highest remaining HP. So this passive is the best, because if we look at the other two are going to be a lot worse for you. You look at the stat decrease one right here, guys, which is going to be at the start of the ally's turn, decreases the attack of the enemy with the highest remaining HP by 30%. And then applies a taunt. So that character that has the highest remaining HP will be taunted, and then they'll instantly get buff stripped by the boss, because the boss actually does have buff removal and also will deal a lot more damage to that character, while that character will not be able to do a lot because their attack is going to be completely destroyed. So that's going to be the stat decrease one right there. Not really an ideal passive. This passive right here as well, the critical strike occurrence one, is going to be attacking the enemy with the lowest HP percentage will result in a critical strike. So he pretty much can guaranteed crit you, and if he has this passive with this passive from floor 1 phase 3, it's actually going to be very, very bad for you. So depending on the passives here, I think this one's definitely the best. This one can be the second best if you don't have this passive right here, and then I would say the stat decrease one will be second if you have the passive from phase 1. So if you have this passive, then I do think that the stat decrease would be the second in priority, and then this one would be the worst. But it would be the other way around if you don't actually have this passive right here, because you wouldn't be able to get crit regardless, right? So yeah, that's pretty much the passes right there, guys. Let's actually go over the team that we're going to be running here and then actually show you guys the run and all the mechanics of Skoll Hati. Alright, guys, so we're going to be rocking this team right here. We have the Thonar, Red Freya, Red Megilda, and Freyr team, and as you guys can see, this is what it's going to be looking like. We are also running the Demonic Beast Battle card set for the Deer, the Icediner's Refuge, which makes sure that we actually do remove the freeze when actually at maximum ultimate move gauge, which is going to be very, very important for Skoll Hati, and I highly recommend you guys get this card set before actually attempting this Demonic Beast Battle. And then, yeah, in terms of the gear on all the characters, this is going to be a given. I am running attack crit resistance on Thonar, as was mentioned in the special gear sets, and then everyone else is going to be their main gear sets. So I have Megilda on attack defense because I have it from the blue one, and then I do have attack crit on Freya, and then attack crit on Freyr right there, guys. So let's hop in and let's show you guys exactly what you want to be doing on the Skoll Hati Demonic Beast Battle. Alright, guys, we are loading into Skoll Hati floor 1. Let's actually hop in here and let's explain what the actual mechanics are of the fight. So for someone that hasn't done Skoll Hati before, this is kind of what I'm going to do with these videos, where I explain everything that these characters are able to do, what the characters we have are actually doing, and then also what the boss is going to do. So first things first, let's go over Thonar. She is going to be the main Demonic Beast character for Skoll Hati, and the reason why she does this is because of her passive. In Skoll Hati Demonic Beast Battle, increases the hero's damage dealt when using ultimate moves by 200%, and increases allies' damage dealt using single target attacks by 30%. Increases allies' attack related stats by 40% for 3 turns, every 3 times they inflict damage on the enemy. So pretty much what you want to be doing with Thonar is you want to make sure that you're able to deal damage on the boss, so that you're able to get the attack related stats to make your team do a ton of damage. And I'm looking at her Holy Relic here, which is going to be from the actual Demonic Beast Battle. So if you're able to make this is going to be very good for her. Both increase allies' HP related stats by 10% up to 4 times, and fill allies' ultimate move gauge by 1 orb whenever the hero uses skills in the Skoll Hati Demonic Beast Battle. And this is very good because this actually coincides with the card set right here, where if you get maximum ultimate move gauge, you cannot be frozen. And we'll talk about how, you know, you actually can get frozen in this fight a little bit later. So yeah. Every other character here, you guys probably know the gist of what they're able to do. Red Megilda is nice though because of her passive, where she pretty much has Thonar's Holy Relic, but she also does heal the team when debuffs are removed from the hero of their 20% of their max HP, which is going to be big, while also building up HP related stats for every skill used from Megilda. So with that out of the way, guys, let's now talk about Skoll Hati and what he's able to do. So this is the Skull boss, the white dog. For what Skoll is able to do, he's actually going to decrease skill ranks on his ultimate. He has a lifesteal card on his single target. He has a buff card that increases his defense related stats. He also does have a blaze card on which is going to be AoE, and then he also does have this single target card as well. Now the reason why we are running Freyr on this team mainly, guys, is because he actually has immunity to ignites, and the one thing that you know, Skoll Hati actually does is it auto applies ignites on you starting from, I think it's floor 2. Floor 1 doesn't have this problem, but once you get to floor 2, that's when they're going to start auto applying ignites. And having Freyr on the team is going to be great because he actually just has immunity to ignite for his entire team. So that's kind of the idea. All right, now that we've gone over that, guys, the last thing that I want to mention before we continue with the video is going to be Hati right here. So Hati is going to be not a damaging character, but he's going to be a supportive character for the Skoll. So what he does right here is he actually assumes a stance, and on floor 1 and floor 2, it's actually not going to be a taunt. It's just going to be the Tarmiel stance, right? So it's going to reduce the amount of damage taken from Skoll, but also deal damage to him, but it's not going to matter since he has unlimited HP. And then actually going to his buff card right here, he's going to decrease allies damage taken, and it goes up to 10% on the rank 3. And then he does also have an attack related lower card right there with the mass howling skill. So alright, guys, now that we've gone over pretty much all the preliminary stuff, let's actually hop in now and go over the fight now. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to make sure we get the attack related up with Thonar. So what we're actually going to do here is we're going to start wasting some cards. So I'm actually going to do these single target cards right there. So that's going to make sure we get the attack related stats because we're landing 3 skills. One thing I will mention as well is since Skoll is not going to be, or Hati, since he's going to be on the sidelines here and he's not going to really have a bunch of defense related stats, you actually can attack him only if you want to make sure you get the attack related stats. But I think it's okay to actually attack Skoll, at least on the first floor, because you're not really gonna have too much issues with that. So I am actually gonna follow up with Thonar right there, guys, and we're gonna make sure that we do get that attack related buff. So when we do the triple attack right here, it's actually gonna give us the bonus. So you guys can see Thonar's attack card, and then we also do follow up with Freyr single target as well, and then boom, we're gonna get the attack related stats. So right there, as we did the skill, we actually did get the attack related stats. And as you guys can see as well, every time we use the skill, because of Thonar's relic, we are building ultimate move gauge, which is gonna be great so that we do not get frozen on the free freeze phases of the fight. So right here we are taking damage, but remember that's why we gave Tarmia a link. And as you guys can see, Thonar is not getting crit at all because we do have the crit resistance gear. Now let's actually finish off this phase here, and we actually can attack. One thing that you guys can see here is that the side guy is going to stance up, but as I mentioned, it's not actually a taunt until floor 3. So once it hits floor 3, then you definitely want to have a stance removal skill, which is why you have Freyr and Thonar on the team. But you don't necessarily need to have a stance removal if you're just doing like floor 1 and floor 2, because there's no guaranteed taunt. So what we'll do here, guys, is we'll just do the AoE, we'll do the single target, we'll do Miguel's card as well, actually, to make sure we get an ultimate, and then I actually will just waste this card right here just to merge up Freyr for his ultimate right there. So we're gonna do the AoE, and then I think with this single target and maybe Miguel's card right there, we might have enough damage. Let's see. It depends on if she's gonna be able to do enough here. Let's see. Oh wow, we actually did get the kill. Nice. Okay, so right there we actually do move into the next phase right there, guys. Not too bad at all, right? We're gonna have a lot of HP related built up, and we have what is that, quadruple ultimate right here. So we're in a very, very good position. So what we're gonna do on this phase, guys, for you guys that don't know what this phase is gonna be the Hati fight. Well, now you actually have to face Hati. Now the thing is with Hati though is that he's gonna do a bunch of different things. He's gonna have infect on his AoE, he's gonna freeze single target, which is gonna be part of why, you know, I mentioned you want to have maximum ultimate move gauge. He also does have a disabling buff skills effect, and then he has a renaissance effect, which is going to be damage dealt for every buff, debuff, and stance effect on the target. And then for his ultimate here, he's going to apply corrosion on all the enemies. And then for Skoll now, Skoll is actually going to be the one that actually taunts up now, and Skoll actually will not on this phase, but on the, I think it's floor 2 and floor 3, he actually does taunt. I could be wrong about floor 2, but I know for sure he does taunt on floor 3. So it's pretty much the roles are reversed. So now Skoll is actually going to be the taunt unit, and then Hati is going to be the one you actually want to damage. So what we're going to do here though, guys, is we're going to make sure that we actually ult here with pretty much everybody but Freya. I'm going to actually save Freya's ultimate here, and we're just going to ult with everybody else. And what that's going to do is that's going to make sure that we move into the next phase having an ultimate with Freya, so she's not going to be able to get frozen, and we ult the boss and they're just going to die. Even with like a 1 out of 6 Freya, I think this would be very easy for a lot of you guys to do, and you're not going to have too many issues. So we're actually just going to waste all our cards right there and actually move into the next phase. He does have a 30% HP damage cap, but remember, if you have Freyr on the team, when you do his ultimate, it's going to be that damage, so you'll be able to hit past the damage cap. And look at that. So we actually do just one phase that phase completely. So right here, guys, we do actually get the passive where whenever we deplete his ultimate move gauge, we actually do get the benefit. So that's going to be, or he actually gets a benefit, I mean. So they're going to get 10% critical damage increase. So that's not the worst passive in the world, and that's okay, actually. So that's going to be fine. What we can actually do here, guys, just in case you weren't full HP going into this phase, you can actually use the cleanse card with Miguelda, because remember, in her passive, it actually does mention that whenever you cleanse, you actually do heal 20% of allies' max HP. So we're going to actually do that skill right there, and then we're actually going to ult with Freya. Now, the one thing to mention with this phase, guys, is that this phase does not have damage cap, so you can actually kill this phase in a one hit if you're strong enough with your damage. Alright, guys, so one thing to mention about the bosses on this phase is that you're actually going to be facing both the Skoll and Hati now as their big form. So there's no taunt variant of the two, and you're actually facing both of them. Now, the reason why we're going to be ulting here with Freya, and we're only going to be needing to use this one ultimate, is because we're actually going to be able to one-shot these bosses here, because they don't have damage cap on floor 1. They actually did remove the damage cap, you know, passive that they actually have. And so if you have a really strong AoE ultimate, you can actually one-bang this phase of the fight, and you won't actually have to do too much. You could also follow up though if you had like a Freyr ultimate this phase. Let's say you could ult with Freyr, and then it would hit the double damage cap on the other you know, Skoll or Hati, right? But it's nice to have like Freya's ultimate here, because even if it's lower dupe, it'll still do a lot of damage, because you know it has the wave effect where it does minus 20% damage dealt for every enemy on the battlefield, but because there's only 2, it's going to deal a lot more damage, right? So that's why it's going to be a pretty strong skill when actually dealing the damage. So what we're going to do here, guys, is we're just going to do this right here, and then follow up with the attack cards as well, just to make sure that they all die. But it looks like right here, guys, with Freya ultimate, especially with all the attack related that we got, we're actually just going to one bang both the bosses right there. So 1,000,000 damage on both of them. And remember, guys, they both had 800k-ish HP. So you want to make sure, by the way, that when you're actually attacking that phase, is that you kill them both on the same attacking turn. If you kill one of the Skoll or the Hati separately, and you leave one of them alive, the other one is going to get an increased amount of defense and HP, and you won't be able to kill the other one. So you have to kill them both within the same turn. If you don't kill them within the same turn, you're actually going to mess up and lose the fight. So I just wanted to clarify that, guys. But with that out of the way, man, let's hop into floor 2 of Skoll Hati, and let's explain what you want to be doing on that. Alright, guys, so we are hopping into the floor 2 of Skoll Hati here. Let's see what this team's able to do in terms of being able to actually beat the fight, and I'll also explain what the actual bosses do now that we're on floor 2. So floor 2 of Skoll Hati is going to be a little bit more difficult than the first floor, guys. One thing I will mention that's going to be pretty important is that if you do not have a character like Freyr or Green Melasula that actually do block ignites, you're going to need a character like either those two or Scotty to be able to benefit from having the ignites on the field, because if you guys don't know, starting from floor 2 onwards, the Skoll boss is actually going to auto apply ignites on you. So pretty much he's going to apply ignites on everyone on your team, and the only way you can really block them is by running Freyr or Green Melasula, or by having a Scotty, which is actually going to make it so that his attack and defense does get lowered when attacking into people when Scotty gets a ton of debuffs, right? That's kind of the idea. Everything else about this phase, guys, is going to be the same as floor 1, so nothing really changes there. The side guy is going to be doing the exact same thing. He's going to have the stance, he's going to have the damage taken buff as well, and then for the Skoll boss, he's going to be doing pretty much the same thing. He's going to have the D rank card on his ultimate, he's going to have lifesteal single target, he's going to have the defense related buff, he's going to have blaze on his AoE card, and then actually code destruction on his single target card now as well. So what we're going to do here, guys, turn 1 is we're actually going to make sure we do the triple card right here. These 3 cards are actually going to make sure that we get the attack related up from Thonar's passive, because, you know, if you attack here with like Miguelda or Thonar, you might actually patience the boss, because these skills have really low attack percent effects, right? So we definitely want to make sure that we do get the attack related up when doing our attacks. So we're actually going to rip that card with Freya as well, and just deal as much damage as we can. And then the following turn here, hopefully we can actually top deck a cancel stance, which will be really helpful in terms of being able to remove this stance from the Hati side of the fight, and then we'll be able to deal with that a lot better. But yeah, you guys can see as well that the damage with the team is still going to be very good too. So you shouldn't really have too many issues on the damage department. So yeah, on that side of the thing, it's going to be actually fine. So right there, we are going to take some damage here with Thonar, guys, but that is why we run the red Tarmiel link on her, right? And having her on the far left is going to be fine as well, because she has the build up with the with the HP related from her holy relic. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do Freya AoE. I'm actually going to follow up with the single target with Freyr, and then single target Miguelda, and then I'm going to do single target, we're going to do single target Thonar as well. And that's going to get us the ultimates on pretty much everybody, and we also will have a cancel stance to actually remove the stance from the side guy here if we actually don't get the kill now. Which it looks like we probably won't be able to get the kill. Yeah, we're not going to get the kill. So he is actually going to tank this turn, and then what we're going to want to do next turn is actually stance remove, and then go for the kill onto the dog right there. So yeah, remember that you're also going to be building ultimate move gauge by having the red Miguelda on the team, but also having Thonar on the team with their holy relic. You're going to be able to really push up ultimates with the characters, and that's going to be really good. So what we're going to do here, guys, is we're going to do the single target right there with Thonar, which is going to stance remove this character, and then we're going to do the single target here as well, and then we're going to do the rank 2 gauge reduction, and then if that doesn't kill at all, then we will actually follow up with the ultimate there with Freyr. But I think this should kill, because we're going to remove the stance, so we're going to deal a lot more damage here. So let's actually see, do we have enough damage? We do the rank 2, and then we're actually going to follow up with the rank 2 Miguelda right there. And then yeah, right here we should be able to move. Yeah, so we're gonna have to rip a Freyr ultimate right here, which is fine, you know, just to get it out of the way. And then we'll move into the next phase here, and we'll have ultimate on Miguelda and Thonar regardless, so we actually are in a fairly decent position. So this is still okay. So as you guys can see as well, we do get buff disabled on Miguelda. That is the only time it actually becomes a detriment for you, is that you get buff disabled. You guys see here that you actually do get applied with a debuff randomly on your team. This actually did happen on floor 1, and I forgot to mention that. But whenever you're facing Hati, you actually do get a random debuff, either going to be attack related lower, you're actually going to get stance disable, rank 2 cards seal, or you're going to get buff seal as well. Don't mind these server maintenance, guys. I'm just playing this right before Grand Cross server maintenance. But yeah, let's continue here, and let's actually finish this part of the fight. Nothing else really changes with this guy as well. He's going to be the exact same as the other phase. So, you know, he's going to have the disable boss skills resonance on that card. Going to have the infect AoE, and then the free single target. And then for Skoll right there, he's actually going to have the stance right here, and it doesn't actually taunt at rank at floor 2, so that's good to know. And then he does also fill the ultimate move by 3, and then decrease the defense related of us, right? So that's going to be a little bit important. So what we'll actually do right here, guys, is we're actually going to drop the Freya ultimate. I'm actually going to do the single single target there with Donar, and then we're actually gonna do Miguelda, and then I'm actually gonna follow up. Actually, yeah, no, I'll follow up with the single target with I guess we'll do Donar, just to make sure that we get the ultimate with everybody. So we'll do that. So ultimate right there with Freya. We do the single target with Donar. We're going to do Miguelda single target. And if we weren't to get the kill right here anyway, guys, so let's say this didn't kill, because it's possible that it doesn't. Yeah, like that. The Abyss from Freya will actually get the kill, and we'll move into the next phase. Now, on phase 3 here of Skoll Hati floor 2, we did actually get, unfortunately, the worst passive right there, which is going to be a little bit annoying. But yeah, that is going to be what happens right there. We actually do get frozen right here on Miguelda, and that is something to take into account starting from the floor. I think floor 1 has this as well, but in floor 2 it's going to be more prevalent because you're going to be getting frozen whenever a character does not have maximum ultimate move gauge. Remember that the card set that you're running here makes you immune to freeze at maximum ultimate move gauge, so that's pretty much why you also want to be pushing up ultimates, and that's going to be very, very beneficial. So what we're going to want to do here, guys, is we're actually going to want to kill the Hati dog, because we actually do have ignite immunity. So Skoll is actually going to be a lot easier to kill considering we have the immunity to ignites. But if you were running a Scotty based team and you didn't have an ignite blocker, you would actually attack Skoll because he's the one applying the ignites, which is going to be a lot more difficult. One thing else to mention, guys, is that you know, Hati on this phase actually does have a extort card, which this card, once he gets this off, which is going to be on, I think, the 3rd turn, is going to do a lot of damage because he's going to extort you and then just deal a ton of damage with his co-destruction and also his cancel boss and stances, which is going to do a lot. So yeah, bear that in mind. Right here we actually do have Hati attacking with 4 times as well, which is you know, not really common, right? You're not going to see that too often. So what we're going to do here though, guys, we're going to actually make sure we do we get the ultimate with Freyr, and I think Donar as well. We actually will do that. So I'm going to do single target right there, and then we're going to follow up single target. One more thing to mention, guys. On specifically floor 2 phase 3 of the fight, if you attack either Skoll or Hati 5 times, they actually will get a revive passive. This is going to be a gray revive passive, and if you actually do proc this, they're going to be reviving, and it's going to be a lot harder for you to kill them. So you pretty much want to be killing these guys as quick as possible by making sure you have ultimates or some you know, really like high level skills to be able to kill them with the damage, right? So that's the idea. So we have to remember how many times you're actually hitting an enemy here, so you know. We're actually going to be attacking the Hati dog 4 times, and then we're going to be attacking the Skoll dog once because we're doing an AoE with Freya right there. So yeah, follow up rank 2. Right, so we do that. We do the Freya single target, and then we're going to do Freya AoE right here. And if Freya doesn't get frozen here as well, guys, the Abyss from her ultimate from last phase actually will hit again as well, just like that. So the Abyss does hit again, which is actually really good. And because of that, we were completely fine and actually took out the Hati dog right there. Yeah, so right there, guys, because we had Freya's ultimate and we used it from the last phase, we actually didn't get frozen, and the Hati dog actually did die from the AoE. Now, it's actually okay to kill one of the dogs first. So either the dogs you can kill, you definitely want to be killing one at a time. You don't want to go for both of them at the same time. It's going to be a little bit harder to do on this phase, especially with the damage cap. But you want to make sure that on floor 2 and floor 3 specifically, that you actually are going to kill one and then the other. Whereas with floor 1, as I mentioned earlier, you want to be killing both of them at the same time. So this one's a little bit different. But right there, guys, because we did get the Abyss off of Freya, you know, that's not going to be something that always happens. But if you have a high dude Freya, the Abyss will be very nice. And look, we have already, you know, kind of destroyed this this phase of the fight because he's already about to die. And then right here, all we would have to do is just make sure everyone's full HP. So if you're debuffed, you'd cleanse with Miguelda, and then you would drop the ultimates here with whatever characters you had. But even if we didn't have Abyss right there, we would kill the Hati dog and then follow up with all of our attacks into the Skoll dog right there, guys. So very simple right there, man. Not too you know, difficult right there in terms of what we're doing, but it's kind of just a given though. So we drop the ultimate with Freya, and boom, we do 300k. We're actually gonna finish off this floor of the fight, guys. So that's gonna be floor 2 of Skoll Hati. Let's actually move into the floor 3 and let's see what we're able to do with that. Alright, guys, so we're hopping into the floor 3 of Skoll Hati here now, man. This is going to be not necessarily the hardest floor. I do actually think second floor is the hardest because of the fact that he does have the revive there. But if you can get to floor 3, man, it's going to be pretty much the exact same setup as floor 2. And the only thing that really changes is that you can be frozen on the second phase. So that is going to be the one thing that actually does change. Another thing as well, guys, as I mentioned earlier with the other parts of against Hati, now he actually does have taunt. So you guys will see that Hati does have taunt now, and also Skoll will have it on the second phase as well. So you want to make sure that you are killing this guy within 2 turns, or you have a stance removal to be able to remove that. So what we're going to do here, guys, we're going to do the exact same thing we've done pretty much every time we've done this, right? We're going to make sure we do the triple attack and then follow up with the Freya right there, just to make sure we get the attack related stats going with Donar, and then we want to deal a lot more damage to the Skoll boss right there. But yeah, I mean, the damage you're going to be dealing to him is going to be fairly like harder to do, because he's going to be a lot more tanky on this phase than the other phases. So definitely bear that in mind. But yeah, again, he's going to be applying ignites on you. So if you have a character like Freyr, you will block the ignites, and then everything else is going to be the exact same, guys. Nothing else really changes from damage or anything like that from the boss. He's going to be doing relatively the same amount of damage, and he has the exact same skills as well. So none of that really changes. So what we're going to do here as well, we're going to do this card right here with Donar. We're actually going to do this card right here with Freya. We're going to do this card right here with Freyr, and then we're actually going to follow up with this card right here. And then we do have a cancel stance for next turn if we don't kill right here. So that's going to be pretty good. We are also building up gauge with you know, Donar by doing her skills, because we have her holy relic. But we might actually kill here with Donar anyway, so we might not even need to do the stance removal, which is good. We actually do kill, so that's very, very good right there. Alright, now moving into the phase 2, guys. Phase 2 is going to be the exact same thing as I mentioned, but remember that you do actually get frozen on this phase. Also, the debuffs have changed a little bit. So one of them is going to be freeze, one of them is going to be a defense related lower, one of them is going to be a dissolve debuff, and then one of them is going to be an ultimate move seal. So pretty much for all these debuffs right here, guys, you want to make sure that when you're going into a phase like this, you want to cleanse these debuffs to make sure you're full HP, and then by using, like, you know, Freyr's ultimate here, or even like Donar's ultimate, you can actually move through this fight fairly quickly, and you shouldn't have too many issues here. So actually, I'm going to do this right here, and then I could actually rip Freya ultimate as well, but actually will go for the rank 2 cancel stance right there as well. And this should push up my Miguel the ultimate as well. So we do the ultimate with Donar right there. Freyr's going to do the double damage count because I have 6 out of 6. So boom, boom. And then Donar here, if Donar does enough damage, we actually will be able to finish off this phase of the fight and move into the next. Okay, that's fine. We don't actually finish off here. That's okay. So Donar does get frozen right there, and we do get infected from the AoE. And that's going to be a little bit of a detriment. But remember, we do have the cleanse right here to actually heal us up with Miguelda, which is why we actually did bring her, right? It's going to be very important to have a healer on the team, because it's going to be, you know, a lot easier when dealing with the fight. So what we're going to do here, guys, we're going to cleanse up. We're going to do the gauge fill with Miguelda. I'm actually going to do Donar's attack card right there, and I'm actually going to rip the Miguelda ultimate as well. So just to make sure that we get some HP back. Boom, when we do the cleanse, you guys see we actually do get a fairly big heal. And then on this turn, the Skoll boss is actually going to put up this stance. So if we don't kill here, let's say this turn, he actually would stance up, and then we would have to remove the stance. But we actually do get the kill right there, and we can move into the final phase. So now moving into the final phase, guys, we actually did get the passive where you're guaranteed crit on, which is definitely annoying to deal with, guys, considering what's about to happen. So what we're going to do here as well is that Miguelda actually did get frozen because she didn't have maximum ultimate move gauge. One thing to mention as well, guys, is that the freeze is going to be a random character, so it could have procced on Freyr right there, but it wouldn't have worked because he had maximum ultimate move gauge. We just got unlucky and it hit on Miguelda right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we actually killed the Hati dog first. So we're going to drop all our ultimates into the Hati dog, make sure we get the kill. And one thing to mention as well, guys, is that there's not going to be a revive on this phase. There's only going to be revive on floor 2. Alright, guys, so what we're going to do here is we're going to do the triple ultimate as we mentioned, and then we're just going to follow up with a single target with Freya here, just to make sure we kill the Hati dog right here, because we want to make sure that Hati dies so that we can move off from this part of the fight and not have to deal with whatever he has to do. So we kill Hati right there, boom, and now we can actually focus down Skoll. And with the abyss from Freya right there, we actually do 300k damage right there, because we have 6 out of 6 on Freya right there, guys. And because we are all the same HP ratio, we actually all did get crit right there, but now it's going to be Miguelda because she has the lowest HP ratio. But from this point in the fight, guys, all we'd have to do now is just do our follow-up attacks, and we're actually going to finish off Skoll right here. So it's a very, very simple fight. And honestly, Skoll and Hati could be argued to be one of the easier demonic beasts, especially with how easy, you know, especially using this team is going to be against this fight. So boom, guys, we do the single target with Freyr, and we're actually going to finish off the fight right there, man. So there is the Skoll Hati Demonic Beast Battle guide, guys. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you guys learned a lot of things when covering the fight. Look, we actually did get the Hati card as well. Very, very cool, man. So there you guys go, man. That's going to be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe as always. Guys, I put a ton of effort into this video, so if you haven't hit that like button already, definitely make sure to like and subscribe if you guys like these types of videos where I do the in-depth guides explaining all the mechanics of the fight and all of that. So I definitely do appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one, man. Peace out and have a good rest of your day, guys. See you later, man.